Link, dink, 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 dink. Which camera am I on? Hello. Back in the original workshop, we've had a big tidy up today. It's quite therapeutic when you throw things away. Now, not a repair video as such. I did record something that I really wanted to show you, but instead I'm going to talk about it. So strap yourself in. We did video record it, but I used a camera that if you go up close, it just doesn't focus. So it's turned out to be a bit rubbish. But coming under the category of, should you always buy the top of the range? Well, there's a million different connotations to this particular answer. But if you're the sort of person that wants a TV to last, then yes, in my opinion, and from what I've seen, and definitely from what I've seen this week, that if you buy the top of the range, it will last longer. But I have to ask you the question, especially in 2025, and the question is, do you really want a TV to last as long as the one that we've seen this week? We've had a top-of-the-range plasma in, beautiful 3D plasma, that's just coming up to 16 years old, and it's just gone faulty for the first time. Customer paid almost £3,000 for it. I think it was about $2,800 from a top-of-the-range TV shop 16 years ago, and it's just gone faulty. And he really would like to get it repaired. We are trying, but there is a problem with top-of-the-range TVs, and I will try and explain. Possibly this goes to top-of-the-range fridge freezers, cookers. I'm not really too sure. I'm not too qualified to talk about those, but I would imagine it's the case. But the little caveat here is, and only you can answer this question, do you really want a TV in 2025? And somebody watching this is possibly going to be buying a new TV soon, but do you really want it to last 16 years? Because the way technology is changing. I mean, every year, if not every 6 months, something new comes out. The latest TVs are going to have all the AI technology, which most of them didn't have last year. So there are people that have bought a TV last year they're finding it's already out of date. And they're probably going to be going for the latest and greatest a year later. Now, remember, TVs are not expensive as this plasma. So this plasma was close to £3,000 16 years ago. It was 3D, it's smart, or it was, but it's only full HD. It's not a 4K TV, but it really is a very nice TV. Just let me go through the Panasonic plasma process for you, because if you think that some retailers do some dodgy little tricks to make their TVs look far superior than they are, normally by telling you that the price was twice as much 6 months ago, but now it's miraculously come down in the sale, which we all know is a complete load of rubbish. But even big companies like Panasonic used to do little tricks, not dirty tricks, but little tricks. So let's say, for instance, this TV that we've taken in. I won't give you the full model number because I can't remember it, but it ends 60B. If you know your Panasonic plasmas, you'll know the highest you can get on the B series, which is the top of the range, was a 60. They started off at 10, 20, 30, there's a 50, and there's a 60. I don't remember seeing a 40, but there may be some out there, but I don't think so. So let's say you saw this TV for sale in a great hi-fi store or TV store of 16 years ago, and it had the price tag $2,800, and you saw all the features, and you thought, this is a fantastic Panasonic 50-inch plasma TV, but it's £2,800. We can't afford that. Let's get out this shop. And then 2 weeks later, you walk into your local supermarket and you see that they've got a 50-inch Panasonic plasma which looks identical. In fact, as far as you're concerned, it's the same one, because all Panasonic 50-inch plasmas, and the 42s come to mention it, did look the same. But there's a big difference. The ones that ended 10B and 20B were not high spec. They were nice enough TVs, but they weren't high spec, and the components inside were nowhere near as good as something that ends 60B. But of course, Joe Bloggs wouldn't have known this. I didn't know this 16 years ago. So if I would have seen a TV for £2,800 and then 2 weeks later saw it in my local supermarket for much less, and when I say much less, I mean much less. So in other words, you see a top-of-the-range one for £2,800, you think that's too much, but it's a beautiful TV. Then you think you see the exact same model because it looks identical in your supermarket for about £500, £600, £700. Then you go and buy that one. But that one ends 10B or 20B. They were made just for the supermarkets. They went to Asda, they went to Tesco, they went to Sainsbury's. The 10B and the 20Bs. The 30Bs were very middle of the road, and you could find them in the high-end stores and also the supermarkets, but they would be a little bit more expensive, but they were great TVs. So that's one thing to remember when buying these TVs. Not that we're buying 50-inch plasmas anymore. And of course, the same thing doesn't really apply in 2025 because are TVs meant to last 16 years now? Do you want a TV to last 16 years now? Probably not. And some people do. And this guy wants us to repair this plasma. And we've really given it a good go. I think we spent 4 or 5 hours on it on Wednesday trying to get it going. And I'll just go through the process. The plasma is completely dead, which is a bit unique for Panasonic plasmas. Normally they have a blink code which tells you in which direction to go. But this one was completely dead, which of course would lead us to believe that there's a problem with the power supply. I haven't got any imagery here, but there was a problem with the power supply, and it was quite obvious there'd been a big explosion. A high value resistor had gone pop, so we changed the resistor, and that didn't change anything, but we didn't expect it to, because if a resistor goes pop, there's other things that have gone pop with it. Maybe the plug in the fuse, but that wasn't the case here. We'd also got some FETs that had blown up on the power supply, and to get the FETs out, oh my goodness, you had to take off the heatsink, which had, I think, another 5 FETs on there, but we're only replacing the one that's gone short, and that's why it took so long. So we did that, replaced the FET, replaced the resistor, plugged it back in, hoping to see a standby light, or at least a pop of some kind to let us know that we'd done something, but it was still completely dead. Then we noticed there's another resistor that's got a chip in it. It's only a 22 ohm resistor, but that's right next to, it was right next to the driver. So obviously the drivers had 315 volts all the way through it, and it shorted the driver out. We went looking for this driver, and it's the most elusive piece. It's only a SOP7 driver, for those people that know what SOP7 means. Basically, it's just a small circuit, just a small IC with 7 pins on it. And we tried first eBay. eBay had never heard of it. But then, of course, you always go to AliExpress, and AliExpress is always your friend. You have to wait 2 weeks, but they've always got it in stock. Not this one. I'm hoping if I find it, I'm going to bring you a little photograph of the IC coming up now. If it hasn't come up, it means I haven't found it, but I should find it. This is it. So AliExpress in China said no, but we did find it on AliExpress Russia. Maybe these power supplies that were used in this particular plasma were built in Russia. I don't know. What you have to bear in mind when it comes to buying the greatest, the most expensive, the top of the range, is it will have different parts inside. It may have the same screen as the cheaper one because it seems very pointless for manufacturers to start changing panels when all's said and done. And as I said, this is only a full HD screen. But it will have the best main board in there. It would have a really well-made power supply, and this was a really well-made power supply. If I remember, it was a TNPA 5717. I think that's what it was. TNPA 5717. not to be found anywhere. We did manage to find a whole TV for sale in Cambridge. Do you live in Cambridge? Can you go and fetch it for us? Because the customer really wants this his TV to work, because it's a 3D one and it's a great quality TV, and the sound system inside this plasma TV is wonderful. It's got a built-in subwoofer and it would sound absolutely brilliant. So anyway, this SOP 7 was available in AliExpress Russia, and of course it ain't going to be posted over here, and if it did, it would probably get lost, or MI5 would probably dismantle the package and want to know what on earth we're doing ordering from Russia. So we almost had to give up. This is a special IC that takes 300, I think it takes a 360 volts direct from the filter cap, and then it shoots out a 5 volt and a 15 volt, which powers the rest of the TV. But amazingly enough, my old boss Mike managed to find one, and he managed to find one on Amazon, but Amazon in China. You'd think if it was on Amazon China that it would also be on AliExpress, but we searched at the time and we just couldn't find it on the standard AliExpress that we all know and love. But we've gone and ordered it, and so hopefully with a bit of luck we'll get it and we'll bring the TV back to life. And one day maybe there will be a power supply that comes up on eBay. But of course, just going back to the way Panasonic did things with their top of the range, and let's just call it the bottom of the range. So the bottom of the range is a 10B, the top of the range is a 60B. Well, millions of the bottom of the range that were in supermarkets would have been sold, obviously, because it's going to a bigger audience. There's a bigger footfall in supermarkets, and people would have seen the price and gone, we're snapping that up at £700, because my friend told me that these are worth £2,800, both thinking that it's the exact same TV. So millions of the lower quality ones would have been made and sold, but when it comes to the top of the range, it would have just been thousands, just thousands in the UK. As I say, here we are 16 years later, and I can't find trace on eBay of any particular parts for this plasma at all. So do bear that in mind. But very few people after 15 years are going to want that TV to be repaired. I think this gentleman is just a one-off. He's an original, and we hope to get it up and running for him if we possibly can. It's just a shame about this SOP 7 chip. But I think if we get that, I think this power supply is going to come back to life. So if you are buying something that's the top of the range, and after the warranty disappears, and I would love to think that the warranty you'd get on the top of the range product is always going to be 5 years. Maybe 6 years. But of course, if you're buying a standard one, that's not going to be the case. But the top of the range ones will have quite unique parts in that won't have necessarily been made in the UK, won't have necessarily been made in Europe, and won't necessarily be made in China. They could have been shipped off anywhere, in this particular case Russia, to be built and made, which is why we're finding it difficult to buy the parts. And that would go for a lot of top of the range stuff. They're going to, because very few of them are going to be made, it's going to be very hard to find parts for them. But again, the question remains, if you buy a top of the range product, do you really want it to last longer than, say, 5-10 years? Are we now in 2025 getting to a stage when technology is moving so fast? It's not that we always want the latest and greatest, but technology is moving so fast that a 5-year TV, 5-year-old TV, is possibly going to be quite outdated. I look forward to your comments on that. So sorry we didn't bring you any footage of us repairing. Well, we didn't repair it, but we will do a full video, I promise, when this SOP 7 comes in. Whether I do it here, now this is all cleaned out, or whether I do it in the other unit or not, I'm not too sure. But I am going to be doing lots of repairs this weekend. I'm going to be doing a few in here and quite a few in the new unit. The new unit is better for me personally because it's got more space. I can repair the 65-inch TVs in there, which I can't kind of limited to about a 55-inch on this bench here. But there's going to be lots of repairs going on this weekend, and I promise they will be recorded. But I just thought I'd say hello and share that little story for you. I've got to go looking for a photograph of that SOP 7 chip now to stick up when I do the edit. And thanks very much for all your support and all that kind of stuff. And see you over the weekend. It's a bank holiday weekend. Nobody told me it was a bank holiday weekend, but it's a bank holiday weekend. Have a good one. Speak to you soon.